We are 99%. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails and the real contrails. Blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. You can stick your coronavirus up your arm. You can stick your coronavirus up your arm. You can stick your coronavirus. Stick your coronavirus up your arm. Stick it way on 99%. Stick it way on 90%. Together on 90%. Way on 99%. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccines. Stick your poison vaccines. Stick your poison vaccines up your arm. Stick it way on 99%. Stick it way on 99%. Stick it way on 90%. Together on 90%. Way on 99%. I'd rather be a human than a slave. I'd rather be a human than a slave. I'd rather be a human. Don't you know that you can rather be a human than a slave? We are 99%. Sing it way out 99%. Sing it way out 90%. Together we are mighty. Way out 99%. Order up your arms. You can stick your new world order up your arms. You can stick your new world order. Stick your new world order. Stick your new world order.
Well, I love that video. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Doug Force from the Mythos Canada, and tonight is a very, very special roundtable. We're going to be going 2 hours this evening, and we're going to start the roundtable tonight with a gentleman by the name of Chris Sky, who has come up with this absolutely amazing idea. He has a website called podeducation.ca. I'm going to give him the microphone for the next 15 minutes, and I'm going to let him tell you exactly what it is that he does. Go for it, Chris. Please tell our audience.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Sky. I'm talking to you right now from Dublin, Ireland. I was here as a Saturday because I came to speak at their protest on behalf of my nonprofit, MAD, on behalf of Vlad's Hugs Over Mass, and on behalf of the Line in Canada to bring all those movements international. Now, MAD is called Mothers Against Distancing. We are a grassroots yet international educational awareness campaign that exists to inform mothers and fathers about the harmful psychological and physiological effects that social distancing will have on their children, especially in an academic setting for a prolonged period, as well as the public and private healthcare facilities, where it doesn't just affect children, it affects all the loved ones that are in those facilities, because those measures make it almost impossible to have proper interaction with your loved ones. But back to Mothers Against Distancing. So last time I was in Ireland was August 15th, and they announced that they're going to do mandatory masks on all our school children. Basically, from now it's age 4 all the way through. I decided that I couldn't stand for that, so I created a corporation called POD Education, and that's private on-demand education. And the idea was the majority of people would send their kids to. Oh, am I still alive? Or did I freeze?
Nope, you're still going. He just wants to put up your website for you while you're speaking. That's all.
Because it kept clogging out on me. Sorry about that. So we realized the majority of people would send their kids to a private school if they could afford it. And the only reason an idea like this never got spawned before is 99% of the people were satisfied enough with the public school system that they would send their kids there. Now with the masks, with the little dots outside, the mandatory health checks, the social distancing, the isolated classrooms, the isolated recess times, parents are realizing, even the most compliant parents, even the ones wearing masks, even the ones that want to stay home, realize that the psychological damage this will have on their children far outweighs any potential damage COVID will have on their children. As we know, COVID hasn't killed one person age 0 to 20 in all of Canada. So we created a thing called private on-demand education, and we combined the idea of homeschools with private schools, eliminated all the bad things going on with the public school system. So we're setting up locations in cities all over Ontario, and your child can go and they could learn a Montessori style curriculum from either a volunteer, accredited, or specialized teacher, depending on the school and what the parents choose. And it comes at a very low cost. Private school, everybody knows, costs between $15,000 and $35,000 in Canada each year per student. Our base education at our smallest schools, we call it the baseline model, is when we're using a location donated by an owner of a house or corporation, and we're using volunteers, and we have a very small students, maybe 5 to 10 students. We're looking at tuition costs between $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 tops per year per student. And for our larger schools that go up to at 50 students, which is the max allowed by law under these guidelines, the tuitions will be steady around $3,000 per year per student. And we're going to be offering them high quality Montessori curriculum that we're also going to enhance. We're going to be combining different age groups of children, which gives critical thinking skills. It provides leadership skills to the older kids. It provides teamwork skills to the younger kids. We're even going to apply an aspect of meditation at the start of each school day that's going to put the kids in a proper state of mind to be able to learn. The biggest problem with public school system and the social engineering and conditioning they're doing right now is that the children, from the very moment they arrive to the moment they leave, are going to be in a constant state of fear and anxiety. And there's no possible way they can learn in that environment. There's no possible way they can develop mentally in that environment. So our slogan for Pod Education is empowering children today and creating leaders tomorrow. And it's not just a slogan, it's actually what we take that literally, because we know that kids that go to our schools are going to have a much higher quality education, they're going to have much better mental health, they're going to have much better mental development, and they're going to be much more well suited to interact in society with all different types of people. This is essential. They're coming after our children now. We know the pandemic has been exaggerated. We know that the forced business closures were not in our best interest. And now we know for a fact that putting our children through this kind of trauma on a grand scale is something that can really destroy society. Children are the future. We must protect them. So that's why we created Pod Education. So we're asking anybody who's interested in this, we're looking for 3 different things you can do. If you have a location that you want to offer, you can go to www.podeducation.ca, and you'll see it says offer a location. Just click it. If you're a teacher who's looking for a job, we're going to have a lot of schools opening. And our work conditions are a lot more favorable than public school, and you'll be around like-minded people. So you can click on podeducation.ca and click become a teacher. And for everybody else who wants to protect their children, save their children, you can also go to podeducation.ca, click register your children, put your city, the child's age and name, and we're going to find the school best suited for them. And when we get enough children in newer cities, we'll be opening newer schools all over Ontario. And we plan on expanding this to Quebec as well as BC, and then the rest of Canada as fast as possible. Right now, we're only allowed to service children age junior kindergarten up to grade 8, which is about 13 years old. High school, unfortunately, we do not offer it as of yet, because it's a whole different ballgame. But for your children in junior kindergarten to grade 8, this is literally a brand new school system. And like I said, it combines the best of private schools with home schools and rejects all the bad of the new public school system, which I don't even call public school anymore. I call it the public social trauma centers for your children. And I think this is something that can literally displace the entire public school system. We could get thousands and thousands of kids out of that system. And I guarantee you, they're safer in our schools. If you go to a school with 500 children, or you go to a school with 15 children, where are they more likely to contract COVID? Let's be honest. Where are they more likely to get a lockdown? Where are they more likely to have bullying? Where are they more likely to have any type of problem? in that place. We also, I forgot to mention, in the last hour and a half of our classroom sessions, we allow the teachers to have one-on-one time with each of the students. There's no school that does that anywhere. There's no school that gives you this type of attention. There's no school that has this type of community involvement. When the community comes together like this, when you have people offering their homes or businesses, when you have people offering their services, it's because they care and they want this to work. So when you have that kind of passion, the quality of education and the efficiency of how everything works is just unmatched anywhere. So not only are you getting it for cheaper, at a fraction of the cost, you're getting higher quality, you're getting safety, you're getting peace of mind. There's never been anything like this, and that's why they're terrified of this idea. I envisioned it at the middle of August. I had to have the idea submitted to the school board by September 1st. I hired the best lawyers in the country to do it. I stayed up 24 hours a day for almost 3 weeks straight, and we got the idea in on August 28th. And it was officially accepted. So this is not some pipe dream. This is something that's already happening. Our guidebook is going to be posted on the website soon. It's a 20-page document. It's very detailed, very thorough, one of the most efficiently created for any school you'll ever read. And it'll give you an idea of exactly how dedicated we are to quality and exactly how serious we are about this. We're going to be opening the first locations within the next few weeks, and we plan to expand exponentially from there. It's all about word of mouth. It's all about you guys telling your friends. Once you're awake to this, there's no reason for you to send your kids back to school. Everybody was using the excuse that they didn't have an option. Oh, I can't keep my kids at home. Oh, I can't afford private school. Oh, homeschooling isn't that good. Well, now you're going to have the option for registered private schools with high quality Montessori education, with all different types of critical enhancements that's going to enhance your children's experience and their quality of learning. So there's no excuse anymore. Any parent that cares about their children, any parent that cares about the future of this country has to protect their children. And the number one way to protect your children right now, at this very moment, is to make sure they don't go back to public school. And that's not just in Canada, that's all over the world. And let me give you some perspective before I cut out here, because it's 12. I only got 2 minutes left. I'm in Ireland today. I was in Belgium 2 days ago. I was in Netherlands before that. Let me tell you about Netherlands. No masks anywhere. Schiphol Airport has number 3 for international travel in the world. Amsterdam is one of the most international cities in the world. They have no masks. Everything's open there. And guess what? Out of 17 million people, they have 200 people died of COVID. Why? Because they don't lie about the reporting, and they don't use false science to try to mandate things on their population, because the population's too smart for it. When I talk to people in Netherlands, because it's a very international city, I talk to people from all over Europe. I talk to someone from Iran, from Egypt, from Sweden, from Italy, from France, from Belgium. And guess what? The only countries that have masks is Belgium, which is the EU headquarters and the UN headquarters, and Germany. And if you saw in Germany, they had millions of people already protesting against this. France is very liberal, and they only put masks on 12 and up in the schools. Every other country I talked to thought the idea of masks on school kids was abhorrent and psychotic and child abuse. And they all reference places like North Korea. Meanwhile, in Canada, if anybody even mentions the idea of not putting a mask on a 4-year-old child in school, they call you irresponsible, they call you fringe, they call you conspiracy theorist, anti-science, and anything they can to discredit you. It's all a ruse, it's all a lie, and people need to look to other countries to see. And if you have one example of a country that's doing better than we are and they don't have to wear masks, that's perfect proof that you don't have to wear a mask. So I want everybody to think of your children first, think of your country second, and go to www.podeducation.ca and sign up your kids. What they're showing right here is my nonprofit website, and that's www.getmad.online. You can also sign up there and sign up at our Facebook group to stay up to date on all the stuff that we're doing, because we're always doing new things and I'm always posting about it. And I only got about 20 more seconds, but I think I did pretty good in 15 minutes. I know I talk a lot. I know I talk fast, but we had a lot to cover. I hope everybody appreciates everything that's going on, because we're waking up millions of people and we can't do it without your help. So I want everybody, spread this information, wake people up. Don't let them sleep through this. Lockdowns are coming. Israel is going to be the first country to be locked down. It starts in a couple of weeks. I just want people to know that.
Thank you for coming on tonight, Chris. I know it's 2:00 in the morning over there for you, so I just want to super appreciate what you've done with this pod education. It's absolutely amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Go onto the website and learn. Come out to the rallies here at Queen's Park in Toronto, in your home cities. MAD will be there, Hugs Over Masks and The Line Canada all have chapters all across Canada. Get off the couch, get out there and start participating. And it's not about us, it's about the kids. And the kids are our future.
That's right.
No matter how you look at it, they are
That's right.
our future.
That's right.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to sign off and I'm going to get some sleep.
Take care. Get a good night's sleep, my friend. You got a lot of work ahead of you.
Thank you. Bye, Kelly.
So
bye, Doug. Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna introduce everybody on the roundtable here tonight. We've got Jon Mihalich coming in from Edmonton, Alberta. Kat Kerrigan coming in from Edmonton, Alberta. Then we have Vlad from Hugs Over Masks and his three children, I think he said, will be speaking a little bit later tonight. And Kellyanne Wolfe will be here, or was here anyways, briefly. Gosh almighty, we've got all kinds of... Anyways, I'm going to give the microphone to Jon Mihalich to give us an update on what has happened with the emails that he's been doing to the powers that be in Edmonton, in the Edmonton School Board. And, this is a concerned parent. So if this is such a highly contagious and virulent virus, why are they not following their own protocols? So, Jon, go ahead. Let's talk about what you had come back in your emails this week.
Yes, for those viewers that are watching this for the first time, I sent away a series of emails to Jason Kenney, our Premier in Alberta, the Minister of Education, and so on and so on. Probably 4 or 5 different people I've sent emails to, asking them why, if COVID-19 is the worst disease that's happened on the face of the planet, and it is considered an infectious disease, why are there no biological medical waste bins? No one seems to be able to answer that question. I did get 2 responses from 2 offices, and they pretty much sloughed it off and passed it on to the higher up people. So I'm quite surprised that in, I think it's been 2 weeks now, I've only gotten 2 responses out of 5. Doesn't seem to really have their attention. And these were their rules that we're calling them on, which they're lawfully entitled to follow. So it's not really making a whole lot of sense, but it just, discredits the government yet again and shows their true colors, where our children's safety are not the priority. Last week, my son was on as well to kind of go through a day of what happened at his school. So I'll be done speaking right away, but I want to keep an eye on the chat, because my question for you people that heard that last week is, what's happened in your school, and have you talked to anyone there about it? I've heard some horror stories about, like Chris was saying, students that have to wear masks from age 4 to 12 all day long. So what's happening at your school? Because apparently my kid has got it pretty good. But I know that's not the same case everywhere, because they're not all reading the same book, right? So I'll probably be back on next week, hopefully get some answers finally. But I mean, the end result is I don't expect to get a concrete answer from any one of these people. I mean, let's be realistic. Why would they accept responsibility? First of all. So having said that, I'll forward it on to next in line.
Thanks, Jon, for letting us know. While you were chatting, I was putting up links in the chat for the Ontario Minister of Health and Minister of Education, so that people in the audience here tonight can go ahead and email them or pick up the telephone and give them a call and ask them. I'm going to bring Kat Kerrigan on now. She's got to be about 15, maybe 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. She has got some very vital information that needs to be done. And this comes, by the way, Kat Kerrigan has done this deep dive research, and this information comes from the federal government itself. These are federal regulatory body that is supposed to be followed. And so I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to mute my microphone and let Kat rock and roll because she's going to blow your mind.
Okay, well, yeah, I did a bit of a deep dive here. Originally, I had just kind of touch base earlier on the WHIMIS program, just to kind of have a look around after Jon had mentioned occupational health and safety. And so I took to my browser, and I'm going to just share my screen here and show you guys what I came up with. And hopefully that's going to be all right. Okay. So what I did was I searched out WHIMIS and I came up with this labor program hazard alert. And I kind of looked around and I went, okay, well, COVID, and I checked on the temporary changes to legislation and there was really nothing in there. And I scrolled down here to this hazardous products regulation. And when I clicked open on it, it came up with this Justice Laws website. And the first thing that I noticed was the date that this was currently activated till, which was August of 25th, 2020. But I've searched everywhere to see if there had been an amendment to this act, and there's not. And then my husband, who has to take WHIMIS, said that there was something about some global health initiative, but nothing has been posted there, and it was supposedly retroactive to 2015. But the previous version of this was obviously amended back in March at the beginning of COVID. So what I did was I just started going down through this really, really long, document of just stuff. And I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to start up at the top. And I started up with the Interpretation Act. And I seen, biohazardous infectious materials. So I read the definition, meaning that any microorganism, nucleic acid, or protein that causes or is probable cause of an infection with or without toxicity in humans or animals. And so I went, okay, well, what's this down here? This Human Pathogens and Toxins Act is classifying the risks of biohazard infectious materials into these groups. So then I clicked on that and I went through this act and I looked at its interpretation, and it kind of defined what a human pathogen was. And it listed that they're listed in either schedules 2 to 4, or if they're not listed there, they'll fall into risk groups 2, 3, or 4. So I scrolled around and I went, okay, here's risk group 2, 3, and 4. The funniest thing about this was I read 2 and meant immediately this does not apply to anything. Risk group 3 reads that it's a category of human pathogens that pose a high risk to health of individuals and low risk to public health, and includes the human pathogens listed in Schedule 3. So I'm like, okay, I got to be on the lookout for Schedule 3. Then they are likely to cause serious disease in humans. Effective treatment and preventative measures are usually available, and the risk of spread of the disease caused by those pathogens is low. And I'm thinking, okay, common cold. And then I read 4. And 4, the only basic difference is it was also a high risk to individuals, but it was also a high risk to public health as well. And it was likely to cause serious disease in humans. There was treatment and there was not treatment or preventative measures available. And the risk of the spread of the disease caused by those pathogens was high. And I went, well, that sounds like COVID. So I go into risk group 3 to just make sure. And I scroll through this list of bacteria and viruses. And I come down and I'm like, oh, wait, look. Severe acute respiratory syndrome related coronavirus. Well, it's in 3, but 3 said the spread is low. Well, that's not what they're telling us. Mask up, self-isolate, quarantine. I'm like, okay, something's not right here. Let me go look at 4. So I go look at 4 because 4 sounds more like what they're telling us COVID is. And look, lo and behold, Ebola virus, and all the nasty, nasty stuff in the world that, you bleed out your eyes and you're dead in 20 minutes. So I'm like, okay, something's not right here. So let's go back and have a look. So I started going through the rest of this act, and I started clicking on each of these different parts of this act. And I'm telling you, I've got 6 pages sitting in front of me right now that talk about biosafety security officers needing to be accredited and certified by the minister. The minister has to be informed anytime somebody comes in contact with this stuff. Not just anybody can handle this stuff. There are severe penalties for breaking or contravening any parts of this act, and they are clearly doing so by not having this stuff in place for us. And on top of that, there's like enforcement, there's, knowingly contravening the act or inadvertently, leaving this stuff lying around like masks in shopping carts and parking lots. I mean, they're clearly in wanton or reckless breach of duty. And there are penalties even for ministers. The funniest part about this whole act, when you start reading through its many different facets, was they even have a kind of a clause in there for government, so that government can't really, come in and just, release a biohazardous thing on you and then go, well, I didn't sign the document. That's not my signature. And they even have a clause in here to prevent that from happening. So they're more than well aware of what it is they're doing, and they are contravening several sections of their own act. By continuing this thing. And I mean, realistically, if I had a bit more money and a bit more time, I would certainly be looking at taking it to TAM, because these guys are getting away with stuff they should not be getting away with. And if lockdown comes again, they haven't even updated this WHIMIS. As I mentioned, August 25th, this act apparently lapsed. And it hasn't been updated. And I've looked for these notes saying, coming into effect, and I can't find it anywhere. So that on its own kind of makes me nervous. Like, why would they not, reenact this act? I mean, there's still people working with asbestos, and up in the oil industry and in the aviation industry, there's people still working with dangerous stuff. Why have they not updated this act? I mean, it's been 3 weeks. August 25th was when this act was supposed to, be good up until, and nothing, crickets. But, have a deep look. If anybody wants the particular sections to pay attention to, I will certainly be more than happy to point those out. But as I said, there's it was days reading through all of this stuff. So yeah, kind of crazy. Not exactly, an easy read, but if you just start jotting stuff down and working back and forth, you can kind of get a feel for it, even though it's, all that lingo jargon stuff. But yeah, definitely have a look.
So, Kat, let me ask you a quick question here. When you and I were chatting about this, you said there are supposed to be inspectors that go around so why have these inspectors not come into the schools? Well, why have they not? I can't. That's their job. Why aren't they doing their job?
That's it exactly, Doug. And I mean, the minister is responsible, right? Like when you have to be licensed for one, and the license has to be filled out according to the minister's, his standards. So if you're not, following these protocols, where are all these guys, and where are the bios? Not anyone can enter a place where they handle biosecurity, and you have to have security clearance, and that has to go through the ministry. And I mean, it all boils down to the ministry, what exactly are they doing in regards to this? Because it looks like they've dropped the ball in absolutely every area, from, the licensing to the, biosecurity officers to the, security clearance, to having the facilities to properly dispose of this. I mean, this act crosses over to the Transportation of Dangerous Goods Act and the Import and Export Act. And, probably somewhere deep in the dive of all of that, you'll probably come up with occupational health and safety as well. And it's just like, wow, I can't believe that none of this is being addressed by anybody. And it's all the minister, his responsibility. And I find it difficult that a medical health minister could drop the ball on something so obvious. You know, you're a health minister. You should know about biohazards, right? You know, so.
And we're talking here about federal regulations. These regulations apply to all the provinces right across Canada, and Dr. Tam is the minister that is responsible for this. So in reality, this is trillions in lawsuits from the school principal all the way up to the prime minister for ignoring their own regulations on the disposal and collection of biohazard medical waste without. Oh my God, that's huge. Maybe what we need to do is contact Vaccine Choice Canada and send them this information so that they can apply it to their lawsuit here in Ontario with Rocco Galati. I mean, I think that should be.
Oh, for sure, Doug, for sure, because I mean,
the first step. I'm talking about first step, because I mean, everybody can get involved in their own provinces. With this kind of thing. I mean, if this is such a virulent and highly infectious virus, we're sending our children into petri dishes. What the heck is going on here, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, truly, what the heck is going on at Walmart, for example? Where is their biohazard medical waste bins? What's going on at Costco and their biohazard? Where's their programs? This is a federal crime. This also include jail term for?
It does. And it's steep. I mean, if knowingly or unknowingly, if you contravene Section 8 of this section, which clearly lays out what biohazardous waste materials are, and you are convicted, it's $1 million fine right off the hop and 5 years in jail. The interesting thing about that is there's also another clause in there that says that if it's something that was knowingly released and you knew about it, and for every day that it continues, it's a continuous clause. So for each and every day, and for as long as it continues, each one of those is actually an individual offense. So if you go back to March 11th, when they started this lockdown, right? That's an awful lot of number of days and an awful lot of fines that, you know, keep coming in at $500,000 for every subsequent fine that there is. I mean, nobody is exempt from this law, and they point that out clearly in Section 59 under the defense. You know, they simply say no person who establishes that, you know, that they exercised all due diligence to prevent the commission of an offense under this act may be convicted of that offense. And their list of exceptions, you have to prove that you did everything in your absolute power to avert, anything coming down as far as public safety, harming public safety or risking public safety at all. So this is a really serious piece of legislation. I was like, I thought, okay, I need to take a step back and kind of just process all of this because, you know, I'm not, does this mean this? And so, you know, I ran it past Doug, and Doug was just like amazed at some of the stuff that's in this act. It's brutal. So yeah, they are contravening a lot of sections on this act, and knowingly, I might add. You know, it's there's no other way. They lay it right out for you. So yeah, by all means, you know, get in and take a look at this documentation, because it's severe. It really is.
Well, and you know, if they're ignoring this act, yet they're forcing people to wear masks, they're forcing people to social distance, they're forcing businesses to remain closed. They're talking about a second wave. Are they lying to us? And this is just a scam. But if it isn't, then what the heck is wrong with these inspectors? Why aren't they going out and doing their job that we, the taxpayers, pay them? We pay their salaries. Do your freaking job, boys and girls. You're the inspectors. Get out there and protect our children. We pay you to do that.
It's not even just the inspectors, Doug. I mean, anybody that handles this stuff has to be licensed, right?
Yeah,
so there's an entire
licensing
and an entire inspection, you know, thing. And then there's, you know, your biosecurity officers on top of that. It's like crazy. You know, there's three lines of defense. for stopping, some of the world's most, deadly bacteria and viruses, and nobody's doing their job on any of it. And everybody knows that, they're not doing their job, but they managed to get away with it. It's crazy.
It is. It's absolutely nuts. So let's take a break from Kat for a minute here. And I see we've got a couple of kids that we should be bringing in. And why don't we start with Joey up here in the corner? And Joey, why don't you tell us what it was like? You can unmute your microphone.
Yeah.
For your first week at school.
I didn't go to school yet.
Oh, when do you go back to school?
I'm doing online, but I'm starting school like in a couple days.
Okay. And
but I went to my Russian school, and they couldn't let me in without a mask. So I just brought a face shield. I cut out a hole, and then whenever the teacher looked at me, I just covered the hole with my hand.
Yeah, smart boy. Gosh almighty, you know how to take care of your immune system.
Yep.
Wonderful. Is your dad Vlad? Was that your dad?
No. Joy is Luba's son. So Luba is one of the original warriors right there.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And
I'm almost ready for bed. I'm in my pajamas.
There you go.
Cool, dude. Nice jammers.
Yeah, Joseph spoke at our Queen's Park a few times. And how old are you, Joseph?
No, like once at Queen's Park and once in Ottawa.
There you go. That's it. And how old are you? 11.
11.
Yeah, he's a firecracker for sure. He'll blow any politician out of the water with critical thinking and
like in a week and a half.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, Joey.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Joey. Appreciate it. I don't want to get in trouble with your mom, so I'll let you go to bed.
And let's get Phoenix next. Phoenix had a good experience.
10:30. I'm just having my midnight movie.
Nice.
Cool.
Thanks, Joey. Let's get Phoenix next.
Phoenix, you want to come on?
Hi, guys. Speak louder. Your car.
We're driving back from Montreal. Hopefully,
okay.
We're 3 hours away. So
get closer to the phone because we can hear you, Phoenix.
Bring the phone to your face and
there you
speak.
Go. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay,
why don't you share your school experience?
Okay, so I went to school last Friday, and we called the principal and got myself exempted, and he said that he didn't prove or anything like that, and that he respects me enough to just let me in and not have any problems. So I went into the school saying I was really nervous, but throughout the day I didn't get hassled or anything like that, which was actually surprising because I thought that I would get bothered by kids. I did speak to one kid. He asked me how come I wasn't wearing a mask, and I told him that I was exempt. And he asked me how I did that, and I told him that my mom called and that she exempted me, and that I didn't have to wear it because I was medically exempt. And he said that he was going to ask his parents if he could do that because he hates wearing a mask. And I was actually really happy that today went back. My teacher actually called us a few days before school, and he told us that he saw my teachers from Ottawa and from Queen's Park, and that he was impressed, and that he doesn't like wearing the mask himself, and that he agrees with me, and he's not allowed to express his political views. He is not allowed to express his political views in school, but he agrees with us, and he stands behind us, which was really great to hear from a teacher. And I think that was a pretty great day, and I'm going back tomorrow for my second day.
Thank you, Phoenix. So basically, if you guys couldn't hear it very well, we spoke in Montreal when she was there. She mentioned that out of 2 different grades, her school is relatively small, but still out of 2 grades, she was the only child without a mask in there. And luckily, kids didn't really give her a hard time per se. Most of the kids are just timid and scared, obviously, right? But she did speak to a couple of children. They asked how come she was not wearing a mask, and she explained I'm exempt. And the other thing, she actually explained to children, to a couple of kids she talked with, that the testings actually false positive a lot of times, and children are like, really? Yeah. So Phoenix and Joy, just two great examples, and we'll have Zoe coming up as well. And I'll let Zoe speak, and then I'll fill in kind of the gap in between too. So Zoe, go ahead.
Hi. So I haven't started school yet. I'm gonna do online school because in high school there's a really big problem that you would only go every second day in the morning.
Yeah.
Or even for physical school, and I wouldn't let myself get contact traced for that, and I don't know anybody in my school either, since I'm going to a new one.
Yeah.
So, which is why I'm doing the online. I'm not excited for it, but yeah, there's nothing much that I can do about it.
Yeah. No.
So what grade are you in, Zoe?
9th grade. I'm going into grade 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I take it you've moved from where you were to a new location, which means that you're going to a new school now. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I am going to a new school because my old school only went to grade 8.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm here in Ontario. I'm thinking I was still in Vancouver where we trade schools at grade 7.
Yeah, Zoe is one of the many children who missed their graduation, right? So that's the whole other experience that, unfortunately was not available to our children because of the made up situation, right?
Well, I hate to say this, folks, but if we don't stand up, it will get worse. We need to get off the couch. We need to take a stand. We need to call them on their regulations. Why aren't they following? It really comes down to that, doesn't it? It's that simple. They say this is virulent and highly contagious, so why aren't they following their own protocols?
Yeah.
Well, why are we having to announce to the world of their protocols? I mean, this is silly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the thing that I want to tie up with 3 children that we have today here, and we have a lot in our movement, and we're always adding more, is, this is really 2 things that I want to bring up. One is children is actually the primary target for the people behind this agenda. It's not even us adults. Whatever numbers from adults going to go along and comply, that's good enough. The primary target are definitely our children, and they're being targeted for many years, pretty much since birth, with cartoons that are completely screwed up, with different apps, with Snapchat filters, indoctrinating children into putting things on their faces from 2 years ago, and that was the precondition for now masking all the children. The education system, which completely indoctrinates children to be obedient little robots, and now it's like a real next level of that happening with masking and social distancing and following the arrows and sitting in a plastic cubicle. It's disgusting. It's literally like little obedient robots. That's one of what they want to create from our children. And then at the same time, if we have any chance to overcome this, and defend our humanity and our way of life, it's actually the children that we need to focus more than anything, and the youth, because they are the leaders for their peers, because their peers is not going to listen to us. They're going to listen to their own peers, their own friends, etc. And that's why we need this almost like beacons of hope, like lighthouses in this sea of darkness that unfortunately is in our schools right now. And that's what Phoenix and Joy and Zoe represents. And whether they're going to do online school or go to some part of the school, whatever, they're still going to be in that environment and interacting with our children. And it's our responsibility to give them the platform to not to develop leadership skill sets. Like, these kids are amazing. They're going to blow you away with already critical thinking and the mindset that they have. We just have to encourage them and give them that platform so they can get that fire inside, and then able to talk to their own peers, and then able to explain to them what's going on is not right. And the other challenge that we're facing at a large scale is, separation between elderly and kids. Because, when the kids cannot spend time with their grandparents, the knowledge from older generation doesn't get passed on. The perspective doesn't get passed on. So this is, again, another reason why we need to, many children that we already have in our movement, equip them with that perspective so that they can pass it on to their own peers. And that's how we have a chance to combat this brainwash propaganda from government and the media, obviously.
Well, and Vlad, what you've started with Hugs Over Masks, is absolutely amazing. And you're right across Canada now. You're out there every weekend. I take it you were in Montreal this weekend. He spoke at the big rally out in Montreal. He was there in Ottawa with everybody. He spoke there. And you really inspire not just the adults but the children as well. And you gotta really appreciate the work that you guys have been doing at Hugs Over Masks. We had Cullen McDonald on our roundtable on Wednesday. Once again, I don't know where you find these people to work with you, but they are absolutely amazing, my friend. And I
agree.
Congratulate you.
Thank you. No, I mean, the movement is powerful. The message is powerful. I mean, I was obviously a vessel to create it. And I always say we build this movement shoulder to shoulder. I give credit, the reason why we are what we are now is because of all these amazing leaders that we have in our movements. Like we have captains all across the country in different chapters, and we empower them as much as we can. We give them the support as much as we can. But I'm honestly humbled every single day by true leadership that we already have existed in this country. I really want to zone on this message again. We have leaders in this country. The only thing's been missing is providing them the platform to shine from. And that's what we do every single day, as much as we can, with amazing volunteers and leaders, creating this platform for people and for youth to spring from and really, really empower a change in their local communities. And that's what Hugs Over Masks stands for now, Hugs Nation, as we call them, is to create leadership for the local community, so then it can really catch on and create a change, because we stand for change in our communities. It's not just about yourself getting out of wearing a mask. It's about educating people around you, so then you can create a real change in your community, and you have less people complying, and you actually have more people understanding what's really taking place, and the real agenda with the big pharmaceutical and everything else with the World Bank, etc. Step by step, of course. But yeah, it's really amazing to see people already there. They were missing something, and we're grateful to provide that platform for them.
Well, and I remember weeks ago now, possibly a couple of months, there was a story done on Hugs Over Masks here in Toronto, where you guys went onto the subway because the TTC had said all masks are required. And you went on there without masks, and there were, I believe, about 30 of you down there.
About 40, and then I think Zoe was there, and I can't remember if Joey came in as well. So the kids were already there with us.
Well, but John Tory actually was asked, and he said, well, Hugs Over Masks, they're nobody, they're nothing. There's only 30, 40 people. Why would I change the bylaws that we're going to install when there's only 30 or 40 people? Yeah. Ha, 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 Mr. John Tory, 2 months later, now there are thousands of voices, and you're still not listening. Maybe we need to take a visit over to your condo at 2 o'clock in the morning and bang a drum. See how your neighbors like.
I believe so. And you know what? Like, thank you for bringing that up. Like the media, I mean, again, I don't know why they try to do what they try to do. Like, media talks about our movement all the time, and we're grateful for all the publicity. We actually don't really care how much twisting they try to do, because it always works in our favor. We say there's only publicity, not good or bad. There's just publicity. More people know about us, better it is. And CBC did an article on me and our movement back in the end of July, I believe. And it was pretty extensive article. They also tried to tag us with anti-vaxxers, not just anti-maskers, but anti-vaxxers. And again, I said, like, I'm proud to be associated with Vaccine Choice Canada, because it's an amazing organization. They've been, defending our rights in this country for almost 40 years. 38 years this organization exists. So it's my great privilege to be associated with such an organization that's been defending, the rights of Canadians in this country for so long. And then the other thing that they said at the end, which I really like, thank you for bringing that up, because it's true. They actually said our movements are actually very dangerous because we have a huge influence over people who's sitting on a fence. And I'm like, I know, that's exactly who I'm after. Because guess what? We have something on our side. The people behind the agenda, they have the money, they have the technology, a lot of these different resources. What we have working for us is, number one is the truth. Hugs Over Masks stands for truth, for education, for empowering people with information. And the truth needs to be said only one time, and it resonates. The lies have to be repeated over and over and over and over again, and that's how people get hypnotized and believe in that. And that's what the media does with the government, right? They repeat the same thing over and over again. But we have the truth on our side. And then the other thing is, there's definitely a lot more of us than them. We just have to equip people and empower people with the right information. And that's what I think, we definitely have on our side, and that's why we're going to win this battle. It is a real battle. We've been here before. This is not the first time. Regular people have to defend humanity, right? I think, honestly, we're on the way back from Montreal right now, where we're talking, probably the last time that such huge numbers of humanity all around the world came together was during Second World War. I really believe that. So this is, if you want to make a comparison, this is a Third World War in the sense of humanity is really coming together all around the world. And guess what? We're going to win this, because what we're defending is eternal and infinite. And that's why we have nothing to lose except our humanity. And that's why we're going to, as I said in Ottawa, we're going to defend lives of our children to the last breath without their masks. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And I'm going to let you take a break, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to Kellyanne, because she's been sitting there very patiently. She has 2 children, and she's actually homeschooling them because of, take it away, Kelly. Technical difficulties?
Muted? No.
We can't hear you, Kelly.
Kelly, we can't hear you.
Kelly, unmute your microphone, please.
Okay. Well, while Kelly's trying to figure that out, we see that Joey is still up. Joey, did you go to Montreal this weekend? Did you have fun out there? Nope, you didn't go?
He was in Ottawa. Why don't you say about Ottawa?
But I couldn't go to Montreal because I was busy. But I was in Toronto. But I had Russian school. I had a lot of stuff. I had to study for Russian school. I was also in the rally in Toronto, so I didn't have a lot of time to go to Montreal. And also, it's a really long time, a long place away. So I couldn't do it.
Tell about rally. When you're going in the rally, what did you see? How people were there?
Yeah, we were going to the rally. There's such stupid person who is wearing gloves, and they just sanitize their gloves.
It gets silly. It does get silly, I tell you.
You know, when 11-year-old tells you something is stupid, it has to be really stupid. Like, come on.
that one takes the cake. Zoe, were you in Quebec this weekend? Were you down in Montreal?
No.
No, I was with Joey in Toronto. We had to make sure that Queen's Park would be okay. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of new people.
Awesome.
And the march was great. Awesome. We went to Dundas Square, and so we talked to a lot of people.
Awesome.
It was very nice. I liked it.
That was very important.
And here's the thing, Vlad. So we got children going out to these rallies, and yet the older generation, the numbers aren't there. We're not getting 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people here in Toronto when we should be. If the kids can get out there, folks, get off the darn couch. It's time to give support. And it doesn't have to just be here in Toronto. Go to Edmonton, go to Calgary, go to Lethbridge. Saskatchewan has Saskatoon and Regina. What's wrong with you people in Manitoba and standing up and doing this? In the thousands, not in the tens and the 20s and the 50s and the hundreds, but in the thousands. How many people do you think were at your rally in Montreal? Let's show how Quebec does it.
Yeah, no, I mean, some estimates said we had over 100,000 people there. It was a beautiful, gorgeous sunshine on Saturday. I mean, we held our Festival of Life the usual Sunday. It was rain. We still managed to get about 25 people on Sunday after the Saturday one. But yeah, it was, I think, well over 100,000 people. And you know how I know the numbers actually calculate now after like 4 months of doing this? Is whatever the media say, you have to multiply that at least by 10 or sometimes 100. So when they said in Ottawa for the 29th, we had like 100 people. I know we had 10,000 people, right? And then for Montreal, some article said that we had like 5,000 people. No, we definitely had well over 50, maybe 100,000 for sure. Like people were marching the streets and you couldn't see the end. Like and there's a few footages from the above, from the high-rise building. Like you can see just a sea of people. Yeah, it was powerful.
Well, when I was in Ottawa, I walked into the middle of the crowd and I did a slow 360 with my iPad, just to give an example to the viewing audience as to how deep that crowd was. And I swear to God, Vlad, there was probably between 15 and 20,000. Yeah. 10,000 is a very low number. At least 15, and probably closer to 20.
I mean, 100,000 for sure. Like, I'd feel strongly 100,000.
In Quebec. So, Quebec, and by the way, the people in Ottawa on the 29th, I would say a good 60%.
I agree.
We're Quebecers. We're Quebecers.
Yeah, I agree.
So the rest of Canada, English-speaking Canada, you're letting these Quebecers embarrass you? Oh my goodness, how horrible is that? Yeah. You know, you want to bitch and complain about Quebec? Well, get off the couch, stand up, be counted.
Vlad, I've got a question for you, actually. Sorry, Doug. For your social media, are you on any other platforms other than
Facebook, Instagram,
Facebook?
and Twitter are the three main ones that we use. Yeah.
Because I recently just moved over onto Gab, and I'm having an amazing response. I joined one group out of all of it, and it was a 14,000 member group called Canada News. And let me tell you, the people in there are more awake than anything. And I've shared a couple of videos, and just complete and utter, like they are starving for information. So yeah, certainly, you know, get in there and, share stuff. I got off of Facebook because I know what's coming, and I just don't want to be any part of it anymore. But it is so refreshing to see that over there. You know, you don't have to break that cognitive dissonance. So yeah, if you want to certainly, spread that message farther, I would definitely go there.
Okay, I'm going to let Joey's mom wants to say something. So Joey, go ahead, put her on.
Hey, Luba.
Hi guys. Yeah. In Tuesday, I registered to consulate speech in Waterloo, so I will have 5 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
On a Zoom. So I do points. What the point I will tell them. I don't know how publicly will be this, and that's what. And I want to tell you now something very painful in my heart. I had few minutes to talk to my husband. And I told him that, please, can you just come with us to our group? Just sit on the bench like your son asking. Sit on the bench, and that's it. He started to scream. He said, "You crazy people! It's conspiracy.
Yeah.
You bring in this. You bring in that. You bring in stuff. It's not coming to my brain. You're talking about kids kidnapping. You're talking about like." And he started to do this impression in his eyes. I want my life calm. I want to live my don't touch me. I don't,
People have a hard time believing what's.
Oh, I understood. This is actually because he's Canadian. I'm immigrant, right?
Yes.
And it was in my. I just oh, that's it. I cannot. I don't know what should happen to that. My husband will believe, understand that it's true.
Well, and it's sad because everybody has time. Everybody takes time to learn. It's something called cognitive dissonance that we have here in North America. And yes, I'm noted as a conspiracy theorist. I always correct people. I'm not a theorist. I'm actually a conspiracy factualist. I can prove
I call it
everything I say.
Sure.
Exactly. And I know Vlad is the same way. I know Kelly is the same way. Kat is the same way. And John is the same way. We are conspiracy factualists, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that the big audience that we have out here tonight, they all are the same as us. We're all conspiracy factualists. So go ahead, government, call us on our...
Can I say a couple more words?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do, Joey.
So, my uncle, they made him put on a mask, but you know what he did? My uncle used to work in a workshop. Well, he used to have two jobs. First, he was like a meat seller, and before that, he used to work in a workshop. He still has his mask, so he put it on and went in. It was super.
Froze up.
Oh, your video froze up. Zoe, did you want to say something? You were waving there in the corner. Please do.
Oh, well, I don't really exactly have much to say except that. So my mom, both of my parents are immigrants from Germany and Switzerland. And my mom, when she was younger, she was always very happy to not live on the east side of Germany and on the west side, and on the communist side. Like Vlad said, he grew up on the communist side. So yeah, now the same thing's happening here. So that's a huge problem.
Welcome to the communist side of Canada. The nice thing here is, Zoe and Joey, they're not going to succeed. And you know why they're not going to succeed? Because of people like Vlad, yourself, Kat, Kelly, John, and myself. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, and tens of thousands of us out there. We will not allow them to succeed. They think they can succeed, but they're not going to.
And just to tie that up, Doug, I just want to really acknowledge the parents. I mean, the reason why the children are the way they are is because of the parents, right? And so I want to give shout out to Barbara. So, yeah, point the camera. Barbara is Zoe's mom. So and Phoenix, Julie and Joy with Luba. Like, it's honestly the parents. And even myself, the reason why I do what I do is because I was taught from childhood. If I see something wrong, I have to speak up. And if I'm able to, I have to do something about it. If I see somebody who needs help, you help them. If I see somebody that something is wrong, you do something about it. You don't just let it slide. And it's because the parents growing up, raising these children the same way, that's exactly why these children are the way they are. So more than anything, I want to empower parents who are watching this right now and going to watch this later. It's your responsibility to empower your own children to be the change that you want to see in the world. Like, it's really that simple. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy, but it's simple. And what's simple to do, simple is not to do as well, right? So you just got to do it anyway.
Well, and the bigger one for every parent out there is that big screen television that you have in your living room, and the big screen television you might have in your bedroom, and the ones that you keep in your kids' bedrooms. Unplug them.
Yeah.
Get rid of the cable. Turn the TVs off. Enough propaganda comes into your child's brain that you don't have to park them in front of a television set to augment that propaganda, and for yourselves as well. Anything off the mainstream is just deadly these days, because that's all it is. It's just pure propaganda. Kelly, could we get you to actually say something? It would be wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yes!
Oh, okay, so good. You can hear me because I'm like, don't mute me.
No.
So,
Okay.
well, I just wanted to first say, so the first time Vlad and I met, this is how we met. So I was watching Rebel News down at Queen's Park at one of the very first protests against all this nonsense. And there's this dude that David Menzies is interviewing, and he's so articulate and he's just so on point. And Doug, you know how difficult that is to come by, especially every time political problems arise. So most people don't really know what they're talking about. He was so articulate, and I stalked him. I stalked him, and it took me 2 days, and I found him, and it was fantastic. And he's become family to me. Vlad, I've been beside him since the beginning. Hugs over masks means the world to me. I've been a participant ever since the beginning, and I will never stop, ever. These guys, I'm in love with these kids. I love Vlad to.
She's gonna come back, right?
Whoopsie. I asked her tonight, I said, "Are you sure, Kelly, your internet is good?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, no, it's going to be just fine."
Yeah.
But my God, this Kelly is an absolute pistol when it comes to.
She's a fire. She's a fire. It's hard to contain, but we need people like that. It's
absolutely.
people like that actually make the movements work.
Well, and that's the beautiful part about a lady like this is that she is just amazing.
Yes.
And she's bringing up 2 children.
Wow.
And she organizes, and she works with all of these various groups. And she's an absolute. When she actually gets to speak on the roundtable, it's fun to listen.
I don't mind listening. I learn a lot.
No, but
it's just the comes and goes.
well,
I'm here. Don't worry.
okay. Well, well, I'm looking at the time on this. We were going to do a 2-hour special, but we had a couple of people that didn't show up.
Yes.
So what I think we should do tonight, because we got the kids on, we're going to just wrap this up and give it an hour. We're going to be back probably in a week time on the same thing on concerned parents. And I'm going to start with Jon, say goodnight to the audience, and we'll go from there. And Jon.
Thank you, Canada, for coming and spending the time to watch this program. We do a lot of behind the scenes stuff to bring you valuable information and truth. And I hope that each and every one of you email the health minister, your Board of Education, all the emails that we listed tonight, and try to get some answers. We want to flood them with emails. We want some accountability. And the only way we're going to do that is if we stand up. Here's another way that you can stand up. And it's not hard to do. You don't even have to leave your home. You may have to do a little research to find out what their email address is, but it's not that difficult to do. And start asking the questions. You can find me on Facebook, John Jones. I'd be more than happy to send you a list of questions to ask. They're questions that directly relate to this situation, and they're tough questions. There's no getting around them. The only way to answer them is with a straight answer, which is why we haven't got one yet. See? So, yeah, please do. And I'll be back on next week, and we'll see what unfolds this week. So take care, Canada.
Thank you, Jon, for coming again. And Vlad, by the way, Vlad,
yes.
You said you wanted to come on to our Wednesday night roundtable from the War Memorial. So I've got you scheduled for this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Is that okay? I'm just confirming. I'm just confirming.
No, I think we were talking about the Stand Up Canada to be on. I don't know. I think they said they want to be on, right?
That stand up. I'm looking. How do I contact those people? I
think we already asked them and they said yes, but I guess our part was connecting back them to you. So maybe that's where we dropped the ball. And I apologize. I'll get it on that. Yeah,
not a problem. But you're supposed to come on with them as well.
We'll definitely get in touch with you.
Okay. And any final words to the audience tonight, please?
No, for sure. Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting, first of all, and doing everything that you do for all of us, for this country and the world. The message that I want to leave everyone with is when we are talking to people, the people that are sitting on a fence, like I was mentioned earlier, and we are powerful and dangerous, right, to the agenda people because we have an influence over people on the fence. The best approach would be again, to ask the question. And the question that I like to ask now is, have you always trusted the media before, or is it only really this year that you start listening to the media, blatantly, right? And if you remember, anything in life always has a positive and a negative. It's called benefit to cost ratio, right? So anything that you do, there's always going to be risks involved. You drive in a car, you possibly can die. But you still get into place. You cut in a bread, you can cut yourself, but you still can cut it. Isn't that interesting that the media and the government about these measures completely dismiss any possibility even of a negative aspects of that? Isn't that interesting? And you ask those questions and you just let them ponder it, right? So asking questions is the best thing, placing a seed of doubt in their mind and let that kind of spread a little bit, and then you can present them information later. So definitely don't be confrontational when you're talking to people. Ask them questions. And do you think it's possible that maybe masking a child might have some issues for that child later in life? Do you think that's possible? And let them be with that question. Thank you.
Absolutely. And the best way to handle the Karens and the Kevins that are out there that will come after you and start screaming at you is to be calm and ask them the question. And be calm and wait for them to answer. And be calm and ask them another follow-up question, because the calmness just makes them more and more and more angry. How cool is that? Anyway, well, you've got to have fun with the knowledge. If you have the knowledge and you can't spread it around calmly in a nice voice, people won't listen. When you scream at somebody, they don't listen. They shut down. It's fight or flight. But like Vlad, when you see Vlad speak to the public, he speaks in a strong but calm voice. Yes, he gets excited and bangs the drum, etc., but that's necessary to get the crowd up and running. But when he actually speaks to the crowd, he's wonderful because he has a strong voice, but it's a calm voice. And that way people actually listen to what he has to say. And that's the beautiful part about watching you when at the rallies. By the way, Kellyanne Wolfe is the same way when she speaks at the rallies as well, with a strong but calm message to be delivered concisely. And it's not broken up and kind of choppy and so forth. Anyways, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to give the microphone to Catherine.
Hey, yeah, the only thing I really want people to kind of take away from this is, you can really get stuck in the rut of trying to convince people to see things your way. And, everyone has a different approach. And sometimes it's not even your approach. Sometimes you can try everything, you can try calm, you can try, aggressive, you can try joking around, you can try making them look like an idiot by dazzling them with your facts or whatever. Sometimes you just need to move on, right? You need to change your group. Sometimes it's not necessarily what you're doing, it's the people you're doing it with, and some people are just not going to wake up, and, you have to kind of be able to switch gears quickly and move on to, a new group. And I did that this past week by getting off of Facebook. And it was probably the best thing I've ever done for my brain, for one, and two, getting the message out. It's so refreshing to be able to be in a new platform and breathe deeply and go, wow, these people get it. Look, they're sharing my stuff, and I'm not being censored. Wow, this is kind of cool. So it's kind of refreshing sometimes just to change up your scenery and your approach. So, there's a lot more of us out there that are awake. I don't think we're as little in numbers as they would like us to believe.
Yeah, I believe that too. I really believe that.
I do too, especially now that I'm off of Facebook and I see it. So, yeah, we're winning and we are a threat, and just keep at it. Even if you have to change your approach, that's the message.
And we WHIMIS Canada is on Gab. We've been on Gab now for about 10 days. So you can come on to Gab. We actually have our Brighteon channel. I've just uploaded, I think, 6 or 7 brand new French version videos for anybody watching from Quebec can go on there and watch these. They're now in French for our French Canadian brothers and sisters to watch, and it's on our Brighteon channel. The WHIMIS Canada is on a Brighteon. I migrate a lot of our videos here off of YouTube over to Brighteon because it turns out YouTube doesn't like what we're doing. Aw, poor little boys, billionaire bad boys. Aw, yeah, it must be tough, flying around the world on your own private jet to go see your own, private yacht on your own private island. Oh, wait a minute. No, that was Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry. And by the way, he didn't kill himself. And one more thing just one more thing. By the way, Trump is your president for all those people in the United States who tune in, and will be on November the 5th again. Yay!
Yeah. You should see the articles we wrote about Montreal rally, because there's so many Trump signs and cues and whatever, and they basically twisted, American conspiracy is coming to Canada. Down.
I say it's great. Anyways, I guess Kelly isn't going to be back. Kellyanne, we're going to say goodnight.
We'll love her anyway. We
always love her. And thank you all for coming tonight. I so appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Much appreciated. Ed, are you going to sing us out? We'll mute our microphones and we're going to get the tune going back up.
Yes, I will. But Vlad, there's a person, Luba, trying to join us.
Yes.
Do you know what that?
Luba is Joey's mom, right? But I think she spoke already, or maybe she was just trying to reconnect. But I think we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Stay healthy, everybody. Mwah.
Thanks, Vlad. Talk to you later. Mute mics, please.
There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails, when they're in your contrails. Blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. You can stick your coronavirus up your arm. You can stick your coronavirus up your arm. You can stick your coronavirus. You'll be brutalized. Stick your coronavirus up your arm. Singing we are 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together almighty. We are the 99%. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine up your arm. We are 99%. Singing we are 99%. Singing we are 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. I'd rather be a human than a slave. I'd rather be a human than a slave. I'd rather be a human. Don't you know that you can rather be a human than a slave? We are 99%. Singing we are 99%. Singing we are 90. Together we are mighty. We are 99%. You will order up your arm. You can stick if you will order up your arm. You can stick if you will order. Stick your order. Stick your